Hello everyone and welcome to Cinderful Gaming. In today's video we're going to look at getting started with the Grey Knights in Warhammer 40,000, building a force based around the Warpbane Task Force Christmas Advent Calendar detachment. You'll find the full rules for this detachment, including enhancements and stratagems, free to download from warhammercommunity.com. Today's video is sponsored by the Warhammer merch shop. Want to grab some merch for your favourite Warhammer army? You can use our affiliate link down below to grab your next purchase and help support the channel at the same time. And so, to begin with, for building our force, we're going to look at the epic named hero, Castellan Crow. Now, the cool thing about Castellan Crow is he does benefit from some of the stratagems we have for this force, and he is a character that leads a ton of purifiers in the lore, and he can join purifiers as a leader for the squads as well. He's got his Purifying Flame, which is anti-infantry 2+, ignores cover psychic attack, and he's armed with a Stormbolter, but also in combat the Black Blade of Antwer, which is devastating wounds and has the precision rule as well. Now, like all things Grey Knights, he's got the Deep Strike rule there. Champion of the Order of Purifiers is a psychic ability, while he's leading a unit, he adds +1 to the attacks characteristic of Purifying Flame attacks from them. And Foresight of the Prognosticators, once per turn, the first saving throw that's failed for this model can change the damage characteristic to 0. So he's decently survivable. He is a power armored character, so 2+ save, 4+ invulnerable there, as you'd expect for a Space Marine captain with like Artificer armor. And then he's also got the ability to ignore some damage, makes him fairly survivable. Now, joining him, of course, are the Purifiers. These are what the detachment is pretty much based around. They get a ton of benefits for playing in the detachment and get access to all our more powerful abilities. Purifiers essentially are a unit of Grey Knight Marines that can have up to 2 specialist weapons for every 5 models. And they also get the Purifying Flame attack, which is base 1 attack, which of course, when Castellan Crow is in there leading a unit, will go to 2 attacks, so a pretty solid amount of damage coming out of them, and these ignores cover as well. Now, their Sanctity of Purpose rule means each time a model in this unit makes an attack, you add 1 to the hit roll if this unit is below its starting strength, and you also add 1 to the wound roll if it's below half strength. So the more your opponent damages, the more they're going to actually hit back. Sort of evens out, because obviously at full strength they're going to get more damage on average, but every time you sort of take hits, you're not necessarily going down as much as you would. The other squad of Grey Knights we're going to look at are the Purgation Squad. Now, this is a unit that is built out of the same base Grey Knights kit, and when we buy multiple of these kits, we'll actually get some cool options for how we want to equip them. These guys can have 4 of the specialist Grey Knight weapons for every 5 models in the units. They can take, obviously, the Incinerator and Silencer and Sire Cannon, which are all your standard Grey Knight sort of special cross-heavy weapon options. And they're all armed with Nemesis Force weapons in there as well, which are pretty decent close combat weapons. Their Astral Aim psychic ability means in your shooting phase, ranged weapons equipped by models in the unit have indirect fire, provided the target of the weapons is visible to another Grey Knight psychic unit, which is pretty much everything in the Grey Knight army. Now, of course, these Grey Knights need a way to get around the battlefield, and Land Raiders are a great option, but they are way too expensive for such an elite force at this stage for our army. So I think a Grey Knight's Razorback is a good way to not only get some armor in there, because we can be equipped with things like the Twin Lash Cannon and a Hunter-Killer missile as well, but also give us a transport. The fire support rule here is pretty cool as well, because it means in your shooting phase, after this model is shot, you can select an enemy unit that it scored a hit against, and until the end of the phase, each time a friendly model disembarks from the transport attacks that same unit, you can re-roll your wound rolls. And of course, transport capacity, as we said, is available for this model and can transport up to 6 Grey Knight infantry, but it can't transport any Terminator armed models. The alternate transport option in our dedicated transports is the Grey Knight's Rhino. Now, this drops the heavy weapon on top for a larger transport capacity, which means we can swing around a larger unit across the table. This is pretty cool because it means we can have 12 Grey Knight infantry inside it. Can't transport Terminator models once again, but it does have the option for a Hunter-Killer missile, a little bit of one-shot anti-armor, and it can be equipped with an additional Stormbolter on top of its base one. So 2 Stormbolters in there is pretty nice. The self-repair rule is great as well, as it heals a wound each and every one of your command phases. And so once we've got those base sort of purifiers in the force, and we're looking at that infantry core that really is going to make the detachment work, we definitely need to bring some extra anti-armor into the force, and a Grey Knight's Venerable Dreadnought is a cheap and effective way to do this. It can be armed on one arm with either its base assault cannon, or can swap to a heavy plasma cannon, multi-melter, or twin last cannon. Generally, I think any of those options is great. The assault cannon probably doesn't serve the purpose we want. The plasma cannon sort of fits in a nice midpoint, and the multi-melter last cannon probably the best options, I think, with the last cannon probably being the better one. And then we can also equip the other arm with either the standard sort of Stormbolter and Dreadnought combat weapon, or swap to a heavy flamer for our little sidearm there, or replace the combat weapon entirely with a missile launcher to give us some true anti-armor potential. Wisdom of the Ancients is an aura ability while friendly Grey Knights infantry are within 6 inch, and they can re-roll hit rolls of 1 and wound rolls of 1 as well. Lastly, to go along with our Dreadnought, we're going to take a Brotherhood Tech Marine. There's a particular one of the enhancements that I like that I think works well on a Tech Marine within the Force. And this is going to give us an ability to actually boost up that Dreadnought a little bit. Awaken the Machine Spirit means you can pick a vehicle nearby and give +1 to hit. So this means we can get that Dreadnought onto 2s and 2s relatively easy, which is great. Meaning, you know, we can bolster up that, but we could also bolster up if the Razorback's last cannons in nearby as well. That could be another option that we take. But we are also going to have Omnicized Blessing, where we can heal our friendly vehicles nearby, and the Tech Marine also gains Lone Operative when he's near vehicles as well. And so our force today is from the Grey Knights, obviously, and the Warpbane Task Force is the detachment we're using. This gives us the ability Hallowed Ground, where certain parts of the battlefield become hallowed ground as follows. Our deployment zone is always considered to be hallowed ground. Any area of the battlefield within 6 inch of a Purifier squad is hallowed ground. At the start of any phase, if we control half the objectives in no man's land, then that will become hallowed ground, and the same thing goes for our opponent's territory. Now, each time a Grey Knight model from your unit makes an attack, you can re-roll the hit roll of 1 standard, but if it's a Purifier squad or is wholly within your army's hollowed ground area, you can re-roll the hit roll entirely instead. To start off with for the list though, we have our epic hero Castellan Crow, and he is going to be our force's warlord. Next is going to be our characters, and this is led by our Tech Marine, who's going to have the enhancement Paragon of Sanctity. Now, this can only be given obviously to a Grey Knights model, but once per battle at the start of any phase, the bearer can select a friendly Grey Knights unit wholly within 18, and what this does is makes that unit inside your hallowed ground. So it can be a nice way to, if a unit sort of got stranded or you didn't quite get the objectives you needed, to get a unit to get the benefits it needs to do the damage you want it to. Moving on to infantry, we then have a Purgation squad with 5 models on the unit, and 4 of those models are equipped with side cannons. We then have 2 Purifier squads as well, one with 10 models on the unit, the other with 5. These will have a maximum amount of incinerators and silencers evenly split based upon their unit size. For vehicles, we have our Grey Knight's Venerable Dreadnought, and we've gone for full anti-armor here with a twin last cannon and missile launcher and armored feet. While our dedicated transports, we have a Grey Knight's Razorback with a Hunter-Killer Missile, additional Stormbolter and twin last cannon, and a Grey Knight's Rhino with additional Stormbolter and Hunter-Killer Missile. We hope that you found this video helpful in getting you started with Warhammer 40,000, and that it was able to give you some ideas and inspiration to start your own force in the game. If you have any further questions, please comment down below, and while you're there, don't forget to drop a like, subscribe, and join our Discord server to check out all of our future Warhammer 40,000 content.